Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I am so thankful for those of you who have been subscribed to my channel, those of you who stop by and just listen every now and then, even if you're not subscribers. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you so much for your love and your support. At times when I'm not uploading, guys, I have a wealth of videos. You can go to my videos, to my playlist. You're going to see a lot of things that I do have there. I have organized a playlist so you guys can look, see what's there, and then of course binge. And then of course you can always just watch my videos as they are uploaded. So today, as I was driving, I was just really thinking about a few things and really had a dialogue with the Lord. Or would it be considered a monologue? But just really thinking about the goodness of God and thinking about how He is taking care of me. And the other day I was talking to my children and I was just talking about just giving them an eye-opener of all the things that's going on in the world. And as we were going over, I was talking to them about Psalm 23 when it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leadeth me He leadeth me beside the still waters. He leadeth me in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. And I was talking to them about that portion of Psalm 23. And for me, it was like, sometimes we imagine that being a certain way. You know, it's not always, and more than likely not literally meaning that we're going to be laying in a meadow and by some water, even though that's relaxing and sounds nice. But I think it has more of a meaning. And I was thinking about all the things that's going on in the world. Think about all that's going on, the wars, right? That's happening right now in different places, and the terror and the things that's going on in other people's home, and the things that they're going through, and struggles that people may be having. And I looked at our life and where we are and the peace and all the stuff, and I said, this is our green pasture. This is our still waters. Because despite the things that's going on in the world, and despite some of the things we may feel like we need or feel like we're lacking in, if we really look at it, God is faithful and God is taking care of us. If you think of some of the things that even despite things you may be going through, and you look at what somebody else is here, you hear about what other people are going through. Somebody at this moment is kidnapped in somebody's basement. Someone is trying to find their child. Somebody is taking someone off life support. Someone is trying to figure out where they're going to sleep tonight. Someone is in hiding. There's so many different things. And when we look at that, even if you feel like you don't have enough food, maybe all you have is like a can of pork and beans in the cabinet, that is still your green pasture. That is still your still waters, because there's someone who doesn't even have that. They don't even have a cabinet, And I was just really talking to them about that, the goodness of God. And today, as I was driving around, I just continued to think more of that. And I really began to, unexpectedly, I got very emotional about a matter and something that just as always I think about periodically. And I talked to God about that, and I got teary-eyed. I actually cried a bit, and I was like, Lord, just really pouring out what I felt about the matter and these individuals who, to me, I think they're important, but I really laid it bare before God. And sometimes we have moments in our lives when we look back and we say, God, did you really tell me to do that? Or, God, are you sure? Are you sure, God? Because what's going on does not make sense, does it? And sometimes as you go further and further in life and further in the situation, or moments come. It may be the holidays. For you, it may be a certain time of year. It may be when you are having a tough time. It may be when there's just something you like to do, and maybe you had individuals you used to do this specific thing with, and then if they're not there, and if you're not in that setting, you look around and you're like, you begin to wonder, and you begin to think, and you begin to ponder, God, are you sure? Did you really say that? Did I really hear that? Lord, did you really place that in my heart? And I think, I wouldn't say I was wondering if I had heard God correctly, but just a sadness I felt just touched me. And it made me just get so emotional, and I was like, Lord. But in all of that, I have to trust God. I know I'm not exactly filling in all the blanks on everything, but I think in many ways we can all fill in the blanks with our own situation. It doesn't have to be mine, but we can fill in the blanks with situations and times where we're like, God, did I really hear you? Did you really tell me to do this? Did I hear you right? Are you sure, God? And that is like, like, are you sure? What do you mean if God is sure? God is all knowing. God is omnipresent. He is omniscient. He is all, okay? But sometimes things could happen when we're just like, I don't know. You want to walk back your decisions, right? You want to walk it back. You want to be like, I don't know. But these are the times when we must trust God. There are a lot of times in situations you may want to look back and think of the good times, especially if it's like a relationship you broke up with someone. That's not the case here for me. Something far more important than that. But sometimes you want to walk it back. Maybe you're separated. Maybe a relationship has ended. Maybe a friendship has ended. Maybe the Lord pulled you from a church, a ministry. Maybe he placed it on your heart to move somewhere, to choose a job, to do something. And there are just these moments where you're like, are you sure? Am I sure? But these are the times, guys, where we must be still, because what's happening is, as human beings, we have a need for tangible evidence in some way. We are driven by so many things. Our senses, our impulses, things need to make sense. Touch, taste, touch, taste, sight, smell. This is a part of our human instincts. And in many ways, we do that in other relationships and situations. So if we're not seeing the results, or at the moment we're experiencing things that can make you long for, miss, reminisce, you may feel regret, you may feel fear, you may feel loneliness. This is where we have to ask God to lead us and to guide us. And you need to remember not to just sit and think about the great times, but you have to remember why God pulled you. Why did God pull you from certain situations? What was going on? Was everything going fine and you just up and left, and God just told you to leave a situation or to let go? But what happens is sometimes we may want to sit and we want to make excuses for individuals. You also are going to say, well, what else could I have done better? Which in some instances, it's always good to self-reflect. But when God has given you instructions and say, go, you don't have to reflect on that. You don't have to be like, oh, did I make the right decision? Because a lot of times when we start doing that, it's because we are beginning to feel uncomfortable. We may feel lonely. We may feel like, maybe I could have done more. But we always have to know that God knows not only the past and the present, but he also knows the future. Okay? So he knows the past of the person, individuals that you're dealing with, the present state that they're in, and he also knows the things that they will do in your future. And sometimes God removes people from your lives and God moves you to certain situations because, number one, he sees that where you are right now, you're actually doing well. You may not think you are, but you're stronger than you were before. And if you continue along this path with this person or individuals, then what can take place is you can be pushed over the edge. There are lots of people that we read about who either ended up being victims of fatalities or they ended up taking someone else's life, doing something really bad, because they should not have been around a person or a group of people. And 9 times out of 10, it is the person who returns, the person who tries to hang out or try to stay around a group of people, they end up destructing, self-destructing. So I just want to encourage someone that when God tells you to do something, trust his guidance. And when you feel those moments that you want to walk back your decision, or you're wondering if you made the right choice or not, of course you did. Of course you did. There's a reason why God pulls you from people, regardless of who they are. You may say, oh, the holidays are really hard for me, or this time of year is really hard. Summers are hard because during the summers, we're normally with these groups of people. We normally did this, we did that. And then maybe you're thinking, oh, my children are going to feel lonely, but I want you to pray and learn to pray and ask God to give your family, if you have family, or as well as yourself, to give you that peace that passes all understanding, and to also bring individuals around you who can be there, who can support you. It can be the family that maybe you have but you're not in contact with, or the family you've never had. And at times, sometimes the Lord may not have that happen immediately because you have a certain level of dependency that he wants you to work through. You see, sometimes there are things that God has to work out in you before he can before he can bring certain individuals in your life. You know, one of the things that the Lord really placed on my heart and just let me know was, this was a few years ago that he showed this to me, but recently we had to go over this again. And one of the things that the Lord placed in my heart, and I may say today as I was driving, was that, Arlene, whatever you were lacking, I am Arlene, by the way, for those of you who don't know, there are things that you have longed for and things that you have wanted. And he showed me specific areas. He showed me exactly what it was I've always wanted. And he said, you've always wanted this thing. You've always had this idea in your mind of how this would be. And you already just pretty much just place it in your head how this will be. But what you've always done is you put yourself in the position to be the one that's going to make this happen and that's going to work towards this. All right? And he said, he showed me how hard I would work and how tolerant I was of certain things, certain individuals, because of who they are and what I believe I should be to these individuals. And the Lord then just began to show me how, as a result of that longing that I didn't really see as a longing, I just thought it was a natural thing to do, When you don't get that, then now when you establish other relationships and things of that nature, you tend to still continue to try to be that to people who may not even be deserving of that. You understand? So like, if there's something you've always been longing for, maybe when you were a kid or a teenager or just something, you had you have idealized an image of how you think a happy household will be, for example, or something like that. And then you've just always wanted that, right? And then you're working towards that. And you're trying for that. But then let's say you're just being rejected. Well, what's going to happen is you may do that in friendship or later on in life, in college. You're still trying to do that in relationships. You're still trying to do that at the job. You're still trying to be accepted. So you continue to behave in this manner that really is a result of something, an area that was never given to you when you were little, right? Or you were a teenager, or you were an adult, or just a young adult. And so you continue to try to find that. But so God, it was like, Arlene, I want you to hand over everything to me. I want you to hand over everything that you have always wanted and things that you have always desired. I want you to give it all to me. And I want to show you something different. I want to teach you. I want to bring you from ground zero, and I'm going to build you up, and I'm going to show you the natural order or how things should be. And I want you to understand that sometimes God will do that with you. He's going to take away the broken toys and little things. You got the little teddy bear. I'm speaking figuratively now of that situation that you're holding on to. It's the broken teddy bear with the one eye and the little leg hanging off. And you're like, you've always had your sewing kit, right? So this is going to be your excuses. And this is going to be your, no, I'm going to stand by this person no matter what. It's going to be your little, you got your little safety pins to pin the arm up in that situation, because you're like, I know what this person's gone through when they were a kid and all of this, and you're doing everything possible when God is like, I want you to hand me these things, and I want to show you something different. And a lot of times it's hard to do because we're so used to what? Situations where you are fixing, situations where you are, you're the fixer-upper, being in situations where you need a hard hat and steel-toe boots, in the relationships, friendships, you are normally the one left holding the bag. And God wants us to see something different. And sometimes when you're on that journey and you're growing, every now and then you may reminisce and you may think of what you desire, but you have to understand that's the part of you that is emotional and has feelings, which there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to understand that. And when you long for anyone, or you miss someone, or you miss a group of people, or you miss certain things, that's the human side of you. That is actually a good side of you. That is a part of you that is still has empathy and still care. And it's okay to feel like that, and it's okay to even shed a tear. But don't get off the path that God has you on. A lot of the things that you may have experienced, you didn't make those things up. You didn't imagine it out of your head. And no, there's nothing else you could have done. And so that is why God pulls you off of that path and say, come to me. I want you to let go of that. I want you to let go of your whole idealization of what you thought this relationship would be, this group, what you want. Maybe you imagine this perfect family. You want to be that. You want the perfect Cosby experience, right? Like the Cosby family or whatever. You want this. You see your friends, they have this type of family setting, and you want that. You see relationships, you want that. And so you are putting yourself in a position to say, I'm going to be all I can be. I'm going to be loving and caring and kind, and I'm going to be all this to them, and I'm going to be forgiving, and I'm going to be the great sister, the great brother, the great aunt, the great daughter. You're going to be all of that. But you're not going to get that back. And sometimes that becomes your whole entire, that's like your greatest desire. You see, sometimes the things that you desire later on in life, the things that you desire in life, and you're like, I want this, you're longing for love, you're longing for friendship, you're longing for acceptance. A lot of times that goes further back. And what God does, because he is so wonderful, he brings you back to these moments. He's going to show you these moments. It may be with your family, it may be something that happened when you were in school, it may be something that happened with a boyfriend, girlfriend from long ago. He's going to show you that moment, that significant emotional event, and that longing you had, that blow actually. And he's going to show you how you've always tried so hard. And what happens is, because this is out of control and you don't have the wisdom and the discretion, and you're not following God's guidance, or you may think you are, but you're not, because you have taken mercy and grace and forgiveness completely out of context. And so what happens is, your precious oil is being spilled. It's being wasted. You're casting your pearls before swine. And the Lord is showing you and saying, no more of that. Come to me. Let go of all of this. Are you willing to let go of all of this so I can show you something new? Are you willing to let go of these broken toys with the springs loose that's sticking you and cutting you and hurting you, and come with me? And it may be scary at first, but when you do it, there is now a journey of longing and learning. And then you may be in a place that you do have peace and you do feel fine. But there are moments you will tear up. Your eyes may well up with tears because maybe you miss this person or you miss these individuals. But God does not want you to sit there thinking about, oh, the great times that we had, and it was so this and it was so that. No. What you're doing is you're fooling yourself. The side of you that's longing is creating this narrative that's really not real. Yes, this person may have had great qualities, or these individuals, or this group, but we cannot forget the reality of who they are, what they were, how they treated you, being maybe in some cases being pushed to the edge, how they try to destroy your life and your reputation. Now, God is not asking any of us to sit there and hold grudges, but you need to be able to see clearly what is before you. And when the Lord takes off the blinders and he takes the stoppers out of your ears, and he changes your heart, and he shows you what is before you, who is before you, and he pulls you away, embrace that. Let us not look at everything that we think that we don't have, and oh, I wish this and that. Oh, everyone else has this person around them and that person around them, and they have someone to go on dates with, and they have someone that they can talk to and plan with, and they have someone to be booed up with, or whatever the case is, and they can go home for the holidays. What are you willing to exchange? You know, the Word of God says, whoever is willing to lose, whoever has lost house, homes, lands, mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife, for my sake shall inherit 100-fold in the kingdom of heaven. And I feel that you have to understand that. I believe that there are many things that God is blessing you with that maybe sometimes we just get too busy to notice. And we notice specific things that we asked for that didn't happen. And sometimes then you realize God has actually granted your request and whatever you asked for, and then you just forgot about it. But don't focus on those things. There's a lot of things God is doing. There's a lot of things that he's going to do. But we have to walk this walk. And we have to know that whatever we give up for the Lord, Whatever we let go of, He has a good reason for it. If you're lonely, then you have to address that. You have to be honest with God about that, those feelings of loneliness. But also understand that if you feel lonely, it means you're not filled. So now this area in your life or this place in your life that maybe it's a sore spot, you have to ask the Lord to open your eyes, to help you, to show you, to guide you, to lead you, to heal you, to fill that spot to overflow so that you have His peace that passes all understanding. Allow the Lord to take you down the paths that you may need to go down to understand why you make some of the decisions that you are making today. Allow the Lord to take you down the path. And every now and then He may have to give you a gentle reminder when you want to walk back a decision and say, oh, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I didn't do the right thing. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. A lot of times that's your emotions talking. That is fear talking. That is loneliness talking. But God makes no mistakes. So when you go, oh, did I hear God right? More than likely you did. God, are you sure? Absolutely. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He'll direct your path. And that's Proverbs chapter 3, 5 and 6. And as my grandmother used to teach me, Psalm 121, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made the heavens and the earth. He will not suffer my foot to be moved. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is my keeper. The Lord is my shade upon my right hand. The sun shall not smite me by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve me from all evil. He shall preserve my soul. He shall preserve my going out and my coming in, from this time forth and forevermore. God's got you. You don't need to walk back anything. You've made the right decision. Stay the course. Stay right where God has placed you. And trust Him. Trust Him. No matter what you feel, trust Him. God bless you.